Thank you everyone for being here and joining us today for Authors in Conversation, Fist of Wind by Nefertiti Asanti. My name is Nia McAllister and I'm the Public Programs Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora in San Francisco. As we gather here today, Maud recognizes and condemns the ongoing systemic violence against Black people. We affirm that Black Lives Matter and honor and mourn the senseless murders of those in our community who've lost their lives in police brutality and racial injustice. I also want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. Though we're gathered here virtually, we recognize that all non-Native people to this land are descendants from settler occupiers or those forcibly brought to this continent. Moad's physical building occupies the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, and we pay our respects to the Ohlone people and their elders, both past and present, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands that you occupy by visiting nativeland.ca. This is a resource that I'll share in the chat momentarily. I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate the publication of Fist of Wind by Nefertiti Asanti. Fist of Wind is a lyrical testimony that centers the Black body as a site of healing and transformation. Today, we are celebrating with readings by author Nefertiti Asanti, as well as KB Brookins, Linda Law, and Arisa White, hosted by Imani Sims of Radar Productions. Today's readings will be followed by a Q&A, so please direct any questions that you have to the Q&A box. We also have ASL interpretation and live captioning, and I'll be sharing the link for the live captioning in the chat as well. I want to thank Foglifter Press, the publisher of this incredible book, for co-presenting today's program with us. I'm thrilled now to introduce our wonderful MC for today's program, Imani Sims. Imani Sims is a queer Black femme with plant witch tendencies and a love for craft cocktails. Her obsession with Afrofuturism is reflected in the number of books on her shelves and the number of times she's read Octavia Butler's entire collection of work. Imani spent 20 years as a poet, eventually got published a few times, and now spends most of her awake hours reading and walking her tiny French bulldog. She is committed to integrating art, ritual, and the Black aesthetic into experiences designed for queer, trans, BIPOC folk, and exercises that muscle as executive director of Radar Productions in the Bay Area. Welcome, Imani.
Thanks so much, Nia. Anytime someone reads my bio, I'm like, oh my gosh, so embarrassing. I get a little flushed. But I'm super excited to be here, super excited to be hosting this delightful publication. So let's set the stage. Nefertiti Asanti is the first winner of the Start A Riot Chapbook Prize in response to rapid gentrification displacement of QTBIPOC literary artists in the San Francisco Bay Area, and in celebration of these communities' revolutionary history. Foglifter Press, Radar Productions, and Still Here San Francisco joined forces to create a chapbook prize for local emerging queer and trans Black writers, indigenous writers, and writers of color. Each year, one chapbook author is awarded publication, a $1,000 prize, promotion, as well as a spot on Radar's Sister Spit tour. That's why we're here, to celebrate this glorious moment. And I know you all didn't come here to see me talk, so I'm going to introduce our very first reader tonight, or this afternoon. KB is a Black, queer, non-binary miracle. They are the author of How to Identify Yourself with a Wound and Freedom House. Follow them online at EarthTOKB. I'll drop that in the chat. For now, please put your virtual hands together for KB.
Yo, what up, what up? So excited to be here today to celebrate Nefertiti. I remember like when we first met in like 2018, and I read some of Nefertiti's work and I was like, yeah, so if any of us are gonna make it, it's definitely gonna be this person. So I'm so happy to be here today, and so happy that we've, kept up with each other over time. So I won't be too long. It's a really dynamic lineup today. I'll just read you 3 poems. First one is greetings from Fort Worth, Texas, my hometown. I want to love this city. The street I grew up on where three men brown as church pews roll in dirt as cops suffocate their wistful wrists. Dogs sniffing through the newly built house that's since been boarded up. The corner store where Ramy and Stalcup meet. Where I first smoked weed with a young boy in orange shoes who now rocks an orange jumpsuit. The brown sauce smothered pork chops and stormy Mondays that fill your tummy till you feel a kind of heaven. I want this city to be loved for downtown and the hood equally. When I went to university up the street, they told me not to drive past the train tracks because it's sketchy over there. Like being thrust into whiteness isn't sketchy enough. Like wax dripping candles at vigils aren't just as pretty as the parade of lights on 7th Street. I hate to love this city. Where the stop sign on Berry has 6 painted under stop, so you know what hood it is where I first felt love. Like true love breathing on the side of my neck on the littest school nights from a boy who these days pushes daisies. Damn, I love this city. If you lay on the wood and rusted nail where Southside and the burbs meet long enough, you'll hear church ladies. Homie. Thank you. And I have another poem for you. This one is the only kind of like backstory I guess I'll give to this poem is it was written at a club. Love that like little tidbit about it. And also I'm working as Imani was saying on this book called How to Identify Yourself with a Wound. It's coming out next year. So there are a lot of poems in it that have the exact same title. So this one is called How to Identify Yourself with a Wound, 2018. I am a woman only under certain conditions. When needing a hand moving furniture. On ladies' night at the poorly lit bar when the bouncer touches my lower back. He says, right this way, ma'am. I swallow a cringe along with the complimentary whiskey and Coke. When boobs protrude through my mostly stretched binder, when a man decides to grab my friend, I step in and say, yo, back the fuck up. And the laugh he bellies reminds me I was a woman then. When the bass in my voice is reduced to a crack, a chest, some childbearing hips. When Beyonce says ladies, and me, myself, and I. The last sip before we leave tells me maybe I can deal with being every kind of woman. Who am I kidding? I've only ever been a question. Laugh? Wound? Sure. I'm mistaken for a woman only under certain conditions. Thank you. It's so funny, like performing on Zoom, because it's like, I don't know if it's hidden, bro, because I don't hear anything, but I'm gonna keep going. And this last poem is another kind of like Texas-based poem, as most of my stuff it is. And it's about, if no one has heard of it, this really terrible winter storm that happened in February 2021. Left a lot of people, without water and electricity for like 5+ days. And I don't know, I'm really interested in ecology and how ecology kind of like recovers from these kind of like natural disasters, and in ways how it doesn't. So this poem is a little bit about that. Thank y'all so much for having me at Earth to KB on all the platforms. What still lives? The leafless oak trees, the junipers hanging down, insisting on being caught in my hair. The splintered leaves sagging on red oaks choked by old Christmas lights. The hackberries perfectly aligned on the wooden pointless fence. What is a fence but a boundary, but a harsh message to stay out? The ball mosses outnumbering the leaves on the battered oak tree. The cacti, mostly brown, but still green in the middle. A fence with crispy shrub and crepe branches hugging it. Small trees that remind me of nights where I had central heat. I am a descendant of logical Black folk that survived illogical conditions. And then again, I'm sitting on the couch sending texts to people I don't know. I check in after an illogical winter storm asking, "Are you okay?" when I myself haven't considered the question. They pillaged the city like they pillaged the trees, up to make new boutiques and coffee shops, up to make the best barriers money can buy. My best barrier is the Black skin I wear when carrying a city on top of me. I acknowledge this grief today. The Mexican plum tree, still downturned but blooming, does too. Thank you.
Yes. Give it up one more time for KB, y'all. I am in complete agreement. Performing on Zoom is like, wow. It's wow. However, you want to know what, KB? We was with you, rocking with you. Thank you so much for that fire. Thank you so much for your words and your talent. I was with you. So, thank you, thank you. I'm going to introduce our next reader. Linda La is an international multidisciplinary SAG-AFTRA performer, recording artist, writer, teacher, host, and model. From the boogie down Bronx, New York, her work infuses elements of hip hop, R&B, house, Vogue, and spoken word poetry. Born out of the iconic house of La Beja, her sound has been articled in both Afropunk, The Fader, The New York Times, W Magazine, and more. She has created performances with the Bronx Academy of Arts and Dance, La Mama Experimental Theater, New York Live Arts, and Vice. Last year, she graciously performed under the direction of Bill T. Jones and Lee Mingwei at the Met, and made her return to the stage in the Obie Award-winning The Fire This Time Theater Festival. This year, she made her television film debut in the role of Swan on the hit series finale of Pose on FX. She is currently working on her first recorded studio project, set to include original music and poetry. Her work can be found on all streaming platforms and archived at the Brooklyn Museum in the Nobody Promised You Tomorrow Art 50 Years After Stonewall exhibit. You can find out more at lindala.world. Please put your virtual hands together for Linda La.
Oh my, thank you. Thank you so much, Imani, for such a gracious introduction. I don't think anyone has ever read my bio so eloquently. Nefertiti, thank you. We're here. Me and Nefertiti, we go way back like Cadillacs and A-Tracks, like car seats and spinal cords, right, girl? So I'm so happy and so filled with so much joy just to be able to share here today and to be able to celebrate. And it is still a celebration, so it's still a party. So I got a little wine. I hope y'all have a little drink too. And I really want to cheers to you, Nefertiti, for paving the way and always paying it forward. Yeah. The piece I'm going to read is Embracing. I wrote this piece last year. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. It's less of a poem and more of a rant, because that was a lot of what I was doing last year. Embracing. Embracing celebration, embracing resurgence, reemergence, revival, reclaiming this land, reclaiming this body, embracing rest and restoration, relaxation, peace, allowing my curls and kinks to intertwine like vines, to allow my roots to lift and lock and align in their own design, to turn like a scythe, like a lyrical freestyle, spinning like a metaphorical rhyme, like smoke out the pipe. It has been like honoring the circle that continues to give us life, embracing the qualities that clock me and trying to see them as beautiful, embracing my masculine traits, my feminine traits, embracing my braces, embracing my strength, embracing my ugliness, and convincing myself, truly convincing myself, well, that those can be beautiful too. My large chin and jaw, my large forehead or hairline, my large hands and feet, my wide back or small waist, the cuts in my arms can still be as beautiful as the grace of my walk or the intense lure of my stare, my motherly ways, or my sister black hair. Letting go of the dream of that body bodacious, that body supreme, I have reservations, but I am embracing the now, embracing my ignorance, embracing my past, embracing my anger and rage toward death, embracing fire, embracing futility, embracing unemployment, embracing stillness, embracing destruction, dismantling, embracing distance, embracing isolation, embracing boundaries, embracing severed ties, embracing loss of every kind, embracing apathy, embracing my bed, bitch, embracing my solitude, embracing apathy, embracing I statements, embracing me first, embracing me first, embracing me first, embracing me, embracing me first, and then you after, with no bracelets, no trinkets, no acrylics, no colors, no weaves, no wigs, no makeup, just me and these silicone titties and these moans and my jeans, embracing the idea that if the world ends tomorrow, if my time in this body ends tomorrow, what I have done in this life, in this time, in this body, with this body, to this body is enough. Embracing the idea that I may not be able to do more. Embracing self-recognition, embracing adjusting to change again, embracing change again. Sometimes if I write a word enough times, it will start to feel like I've misspelled it. That ever happened to y'all? It starts to feel unreal. Embracing what it means to take things apart, to put it back together in hopes of creating something new and something better, recreation. I used to fantasize about being new and better. Embracing me, embrace me, embrace me. I am real. We are real. Brace yourselves. Cover you first, then each other. Embracing openness to others as our life expectancy rate lessens. To just be present is a divine gift indeed. We will live it, we will demand it, and they will respect it for all those that we've lost in between. We will see to it that we will breathe life into new dreams from new galaxies, enter into new and better realities. We will not walk alone, turning inward as they have boxed us out, locked us out, fucked us over and fucked us out. They've boxed us in between our frames, inside your screens, inside their expectations, the endless mockery of how free they want to be. In all actuality, they want to be out. I want to be out. I used to fantasize about being out, but lately I get out there and I can't figure myself out. I want out. I want out or back in, out there, out of here. Sometimes I hate it here too, anxious about being social while being anxious. I fantasize about trusting the world around me, anxious to be without, embracing anxiety, trying to breathe through masks, through anger, through heat, through stares, embracing financial insecurity, praying the universe is sending a gift. Community has kept me afloat. Chosen family has kept me in lift. I'm still fulfilling fantasies and sexual emissions. I fantasize about when I will no longer be attracted to the thrill of the excursions, the empowerment, the revenge, as he labels me, draping in my labels, for always making myself small, making space for others while others say, Linda, listen. Embracing childhood trauma, embracing ideation. I fantasize about not having to do taxes. I dream of living off the land. I dream of no stress. I dream that my dream makes enough sense that I could put it into action, embracing action. I fantasize so much about taking action, but I fantasize about the motivation just to get up every day. I fantasize about runaways to islands of illumination and transformation where only queer bodies can rule. I fantasize about access, abundance, fulfillment, contentment in a world where it feels like there's always something lacking, as Consuela Cosmetic once put it. I fantasize about equal opportunity. I fantasize about not being laughed at or whispered about or whispered at or followed or lured. For Trump change called cash, I fantasize about Black men who can actually live free at last. I fantasize about being invited to the neighborhood barbecue. I fantasize about more rainbow flags in Black neighborhoods and less white people. I fantasize about queer and trans communities in Africa. I fantasize about more people coming out the closet on Pride instead of heavy and exploitative commercialization and merchandise on the streets and in stores. I fantasize about a statue of Marsha P. on Christopher Street in front of Stonewall instead of that white painted bullshit in the center of this historic landmark. And it happened. There's a statue there now. I fantasize about equity. I fantasize about my community having ample opportunity more than 1 month out of the year. I fantasize about ways to improve mental health treatment and care. I used to fantasize about having a gangbang, but then I realized this world fucks me all year. And I feel I'll be raped and they'll say I enjoyed my tears. How many of us have seen guns and lived to see a lighter day? We're the lucky ones. I've learned to dream small, small enough to get me to the next big decision. So small, it can take a while to accomplish a vision. So small, you forget to walk in the power and owning your shit. Now I fantasize about not being so many people's long time hidden fantasy and part-time public laugh. I fantasize about easy sleep and not having to worry if I pass. I used to fantasize about having a job and then I got one. I used to fantasize about having my own place and then I got that. I used to fantasize about being in a relationship publicly desired and that came true. I used to fantasize about love. I used to fantasize about a career as an artist and here I am. I have learned and must continue to develop my ability to manifest, to clear a path, to procure, to produce, to want more, to adapt again. I still fantasize about backup dancers and sparks and lights and big stadium stages and headset mics and dope ass costumes and features and cool ass music videos and a live band, but I'll be happy if it's just me on a mic in a Black owned bar, maybe at an event I threw together, or on the street taking tips in a can. I fantasize about good times that never end. I fantasize about friendships that never change, chosen families that stay the same. I fantasize about circles that remain. I fantasize about longevity and self-sustainment within my community, home and land ownership, freedom to live in one's own skin and dream, really dream actively and excitedly, with no fear, like Nina said, maybe have children someday if this world can stop being scary enough to have kids comfortably, embracing uncertainty. I realized those fantasies were tied up in family and community and belonging, in turn continuing to forget me. I fantasize about a world that doesn't just use me and leave. I fantasize about community recognition. I've always felt too needed, so now all I want is me. All I want to do is fantasize about me, because all I have is me. And that too will have to be enough if it ever comes to it, because I am so much and so many things I am not. We are so much and so many things we are not. Embracing, I am enough. Embracing, you are enough. Embracing, embracing, embracing. Brace yourself. Thank you.
Yes, go off. Please put your virtual hands together one more time for Linda. Whew. Yeah. That's what I have to say about that. Black baby Jesus in the house. Let's go. Thank you so much for your words. So healing, so full. Yes. Yeah, and amen. I'm going to intro our next artist as we move right on forward, right through it. Arisa White is an assistant professor of English and creative writing at Colby College. She's the author of Who's Your Daddy, co-editor of Home is Where Your Queer Where You Clear Your Heart, and co-author of Biddy Mason Speaks Up, the second book in the Fighting for Justice series for young readers. As the creator of the Beautiful Things Project, Arisa curates poetic collaborations that center narratives of queer people of color. She's a Caldwell Conham Fellow and serves on the board of directors for Foglifter and Nomadic Press. To learn more about her other publications and projects, visit arisawhite.com. Put your virtual hands together for Arisa White.
Thank you, Imani. Thank you so much, KB, Linda, Nefertiti. I am so excited for the launch of Vista Buen, but really for this launch for everyone to like read your work, take your work and be stirred by your work, be transformed and evolve through your words. So I'm just excited for all to come. So thank you. Thank you, Nefertiti, for writing. So I have 3 pieces I'm going to read. News. While exploring multiple Twitter threads of Lena Waithe cheating on her wife, I get distracted by a post on zodiac signs of America's most known serial killers. Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, Virgos stay on repeat, and I'm thrilled the fish are there. Our sensitivity leads us to homicide. Our soft power and listening eyes are perfect honey traps. You do not want to see the mass graves I've ideated. And my dearest friends are twins, virgins, and senators. When we tea, it's red all over. There are parts in me without place. Accessories for womanhood hang on the doorknob. She slips from a layer of defenses, freshly showered, licks water from her wrist. Want to know, do you love me? Do you? I have learned to keep my erections from getting in the way of his, but it's odd to be idle on the body's welcome mats. I hold my breath to put kisses where speech happens, stroke her arms as if they will lead to someplace new. I run my tongue along the circumference of another day because in the end, the Black body is never believed. To my regret, I'm fixed to her want suckling. I sepal and stem and river and do best what I know to do. Our propensity for traumas and trips makes me electric, wet and wasted, capable of standing for so little. And when the math of her is gone from my sheets, and I feel a crow and spike in my mouth, it is now I understand the lure I am and why I never take the hook out. And this last piece is a prose poem. It's like one of those COVID poems. Lemons. These COVID times silently growing my nails and cuticles long. Wasn't it just last week or 2 weeks ago? Damn, these feet need a soak and scrub. My youngest sister told me, you have the best toenails out of the family, and that's not saying much. Out of shyness and shame, I wore socks the first time I had sex. Years later, a lover holding my foot said, luckily you're tall because your toes are far from your face. I took my foot back. This expectation for feet to not show the wear of your labor, and I'm from a Bigfoot family. Most of the time, especially the women, could not find their 11s or 12s, sometimes wide. And so you take that half or full size smaller because I'm so tired of not looking cute. A shoe with feminine colorways, a fatale stiletto, something fashionable that will take the kerning from my toes, teach me to numb my dogs with dirty, dirty martinis. The comedian Gina Yasher on her Instagram account documents her time sheltering in place. And around day 30 something, she talks about needing a pedicure, shows her foot, dry and crusty heel, and overgrown, brittle and bruised nails. Regardless if it wasn't her true foot, it was still foul. I haven't watched her Corona diaries since. Why wait for a pedicure to clip and clean your nails, pumice and lotion your feet? Not asking anyone to participate aggressively in the beauty industrial complex, just daily grooming to make visible the ways you show up for your own care. Gina Yasher is in a romantic situation with Ninja, and my wife gives me lip when my nails start to do damage. I'm slicing her shin at night and stabbing her bicep when reaching for her tit. These little moments of injury and my attempts to be close, touch, conserve, and raise heat. I want that heat. Don't want to be sorry because I'm being lazy, especially when I'm more than aware when it's time to trim and file. Soles for some days now, snagging the sock along, big toe hitting on the shoe, and the scratch on my forehead, me putting on a sports bra. My mom always wanted to know how Coco from SWV wiped her ass. With candy-colored fingernails measuring at least half a foot long, we could be in the car, in the house, wherever a radio or TV had SWV on blast. My mom had to mention that the nails curl up, so how she's even scratching somebody. First time meeting this acclaimed poet, I too was distracted by his long fingernails. I stared at his hands, asked, "Who are you?" Emphasizing the who, like where your people come from and what they taught you about your nails. My friend assumed I knew who he was. Few years later, I attended a summer retreat and met his partner. Wondered if she liked to be scratched good. His sandals, his toes reaching beyond the bed's root-like. This man, I realize, is growing himself tree, and his woman, sylvan fever. They, a brutalist kind of love. Their nails husbandry, raking backyards, weedy pits, worms, slugs, insects we cannot name, ecstatic. All their crescents black with earth, her suit top his soil, rogue particles fluttering spiritually, them beast and clover grass. All you need is one person to take your socks off and love all of you. Crooked, rigid, toughened, bunion and blemishes. When my ex-girlfriend told me I have beautiful feet and then put each piggy in her mouth, I called out to God. Who taught me how to tend my feet? Not much. Keep them short, paint them on special occasions, push back the cuticles, vinegar kills fungus, support your arches, keep them dry. And then the story about my Uncle Butchie, who died of AIDS, avoided the army because his feet were too big and narrow, applied fresh lemon to his toenails. I did this at times for this memory of him, for the beauty I imagined of him, the intentionality from the moment of selecting lemons, cutting it into eighths, the zest, the lemon in the air. I took 5 wedges back to my college dorm that spring semester, my freshman year. It was the first time of my uncle's remembrance. I rubbed my toes until covered in pulp and juice. Another along the heels, those calluses necessary to modern dance. And even now, when life gives me a pandemic, I let the citrus do its medicine. Let my toes revitalize in summer sunshine. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Arisa White. Thank you so, so much for your work. Wow. Now I would like to rub my toes with lemon. I can smell the lemon in the air now. Yes, yes, it's on my to-do list. Thank you, Arisa. I'm going to introduce our final reader of the afternoon. This is the moment that you all have been waiting for, what you came here for, and I am going to call them up, speak them up through a gorgeous tidbit that Zandria Phillips wrote. Fist of Wind heralds a brave new syntax, gleaming with unmuzzled viscera. In this work, the archive trills, blood-stained, breathing, and endogenous, to reckon with our gynecological foremothers. Nefertiti's poetry dethrones meaning from music, flipping language to reveal its guttural underbelly and oral ritual. These poems are dazzling transgressions against bondage and biology itself. Get ready and put your hands together for Nefertiti Asanti.
I don't even know what to say. It has been such a pleasure and a gift on my birthday to witness people I love share their words. Imani, that was a beautiful intro. You're an amazing host. If I say everyone's name, I'm gonna cry. But I'm just really grateful to have this opportunity to virtually share this experience with everyone. So the first poem that I will do is the titular poem of the collection, Fist of Wind. Then the tide came rippling in, making soft the raw mouth of her lifeline, borderline, flatline, threatening to disappear her laugh line, bust line, waistline. 'Cause ain't no breadline, headlines full of redacted deadlines, racing down her sixth wrist, bangled in driftwood, dangled like a Sunday palm dragging across her chalked line shoreline. She kissed the lines on her hand and drew new lines in the sand to mark what gotta be buried for a moment, then washed away, too far away from her knuckles of grace and ambergris, her shoulders built in the belly of a shipwreck summoned and discerning, her bosom filling the gullet of a teething moon. Light slice right through an eye full of sky and leaves static on the island's sunken chest. She grieves, unlocking the cage of her ribs to heave too many jellied pupils near black and cracked open in all directions, making raw the soft mouth crumbling under the weather's weight. She throws her fist in the wind, throws her fingers open to grab the fabric of fiction that almost makes her body, her people, a myth. So the next piece is called Sometimes the Seeds Are Tainted. Here's a quote. Now, new research is revealing that African-American women appear to be less susceptible to the PMDD as well as to premenstrual symptoms overall, even though women who experience sex and race-based discrimination are more likely to have PMDD. From PR.web, scientific study reveals Black women are less likely to develop PMDD, the most severe form of PMS, and have less premenstrual symptoms overall. My body conceals weapons a study cannot reach. Sometimes the weapons are seeds. Sometimes the seeds are tainted before birth, tainted plot, tainted earth, tainted dirt, conquered and cursed, Sometimes the seeds are rosy rings burning as they pass through each fold, unfold into their self, pulling and pulling a dark, dull syrup, announcing the sludge of puberty or not pregnant. Sometimes seeds break open to release 450 hands who hold me for a lifetime. Work can wait. I am more than worth my weight in what I produce. Healer told me pain is information. And my grandma and my great aunt and my mama and grandcestors already paid the price, already passed the seeds I released in the year 2000 and nothing. There is nothing I need to do to prove to a study wrong as two left shoes, wrong as a bent spoon inside the flesh of a young mother giving birth to modern gynecology, wrong as modern gynecology. My body conceals weapons. My body conceals wisdom Western medicine cannot teach. Sometimes the wisdom is seeds planted before birth. Okay, the next piece that I'm going to read is called Among the Living. From the womb they mama gave them, they release every egg they ever had inside them to a generous, genderless God made in their image. They gives birth to theyself, give name to theyself, gather theyself up in the hands of everyone who ever loved them or wanted to love them and ain't really know how. They love them. They stops the blood, sop it up with prayer or extraordinary guilt. They belongs to theyself and give nothing away. They humor the God they pull out of their flesh, pull away tissue and doubt. Pull fear away from muscle, rename it heart. Pull hard edges away from splintered funny bone. They smile. This is the joke. They walks the world on two hands, pressed firmly on shoulders that mock cement. They palms still soft from petting feral fur. They fall down the tiniest tube and grow wings. They fly. They black body fly. They land on alter Earths, bite down on other orbits. They chew the bottom of the sky, spit shooting stars from brown orbs. They speaks of home, knowing it could land in their lap and cut away the fabric or the tongue. They decide. They tailor and make everything fit loose. They breathe, voluntary and hunger deep. Okay, so the next couple pieces that I'm gonna do is from my forthcoming collection, like my full length that I'm working on, called The Present is a Small Child. And I am mining my own childhood and that of the people I love to talk about triumphs in and curiosities in Black childhood. So this piece is called One Black Boy Walks Away from the Hoop, wishing he dunked on his mother. He snaps peas instead. A free throw in his sleep, one Black boy fondles the net. The net is wet. One Black boy is scared to palm the orange ball so many hands have touched. One Black boy loses the string to his shorts, fall to his ankles, fall to his father, half court hands on hips. There is a shot clock. there is a sparse crowd throwing nickels at the foul line. The ref is not impressed, not enough sweat on the court. One Black boy claps his hands. The bench is warmer than the stands. He stands with his team. There is no team. Wipes the dribble off the locker room mirror. Mirrors are not allowed during playing time. The wood is jealous. No one asks about practice, about geometry, or the longer way home. There is a night for every game. Every night is one Black boy. Every night is one Black boy. His shoe has no string. His foot falls off. He flies with a limp. One Black boy has a signature. The bounce is his lullaby. The hoop, a halo, not a crown. He dreams of running forward, not away. The sun is a healthy orange in his sky. He sits among witness. One Black boy braids their hair. No one is afraid here. One Black boy finds a deep squat and passes. Someone asks about his sibling. He smiles. The arena loves loudly. One Black boy sits among lovers. One Black boy wears the uniform of a friend. His shoulders a memorial to the living. The living are proud. One Black boy is a legacy, and no one swallows pills for his bad, his mistake. The living plant a tree to measure one Black boy's height. Growing is a kind of prayer. One Black boy wakes up to the sag of his limb, free of the gym bag, his mouth open, closed on the zipper. One Black boy's spine keeps score. When one Black boy touches the rim, another rim is loosed. Next piece is November 14th, 1960. There's a little girl, no older than me, going up to a white schoolhouse today because they're doing something called integration for the first time in Louisiana. Her name Ruby Bridges, which make me think of the Brooklyn Bridge changing whole colors in the daylight, like the horse in the Wizard of Oz or Dorothy's No Place Like Home slippers. Ruby gotta be real brave to try not to click her heels 3 times and disappear back to bed where it's safe and warm. I hear white folk get real mean and loud about Black folk for just being Black down south. Grandpa been telling me stories about mean white folk that would rather spit on your shoe than walk the same road as you. And even though Grandpa a grown up, white people of all ages, especially the men, would call him boy. I'm not sure I like the South very much, but it seemed like white folk is mean everywhere. It just looked different here. Like the white boy in my class that don't button his shirt right. He keep calling me a woolly head the first week of school, and our white teacher saying it was a compliment because Jesus had a hair of wool. I've been teased by enough kids to know whether you white, Black, or anything in between, an insult ain't no compliment. But Ruby must got it worse seeing as how a whole heap of police gotta personally take her to school. I wonder if she feel like a criminal. I wonder if the white folk think she a criminal, like she taking what ain't hers to take. I just hope she makes it through the first day. I'm gonna say a prayer for her, and hopefully woolly-haired Jesus will hear me. So this is the last piece I will share. I have never read this poem out loud before. It is called 5 Rules for Wearing Drina's 3/4 fox fur coat. 2, when your mama, Miss Jackson, a Leo, bought this 3/4 fox fur coat for Drina back when Drina was no more limbs and hair than you. Miss Jackson could not give 2 shits or 3 more about what another mother's child had to say about that. And that was nearly a decade ago. So get over yourself and strut on down to Richard R. Green Middle School like you got business. 3, wear Miss Jackson's matching Fox earmuffs while you at it. You in the hood, boo, and Peter ain't got nothing on you. So do you. 4, they will ask, is it real? In the same tone, they asked after your hair, check the length, the question accuses, but you ain't on trial, and they'll believe what they see. So say less of nothing and say it with a smile, be damned and bedazzled. 5, slip off the fur, turn it inside out, and hang it on the hook inside your locker. Become yourself again. Remind them that you have roamed these halls, sat straight backed in these classrooms, stood rooted on these lunch lines, touting small majesties since the 6th grade. They just late to the game. 1, remember, you are not a small, dead thing wearing a small, dead thing. Do not disappear in the lining. Thank you. Those are my pieces. It has been so nice to share with you all. I'm almost always on the verge of tears, but this has been a really beautiful moment. So thank you for witnessing.
Yes, thank you, Nefertiti. Thank you to all of our writers. Wow, you all are incredible. We're going to move into the Q&A portion of things. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A box and we will answer it. I want to start with a question about the collection. So the book's namesake, Fist of Wind, is visceral. It evokes a balance of beauty and violence and body. Tell us about why you chose that piece to encapsulate this collection and what inspired you to choose this poem to set the tone for this collection.
Okay, so I chose Fist of Wind as the phrase specifically because I recall as a child, the first time I ever had the wind knocked out of me, it felt like a fist just snatched my breath away. And what was most surprising at that moment was I couldn't cry. And so it felt like there was no like trace or I guess like for tears are healing for me. And so if I cannot access them, I cannot access the proof that I am in the pain that I say that I am. And so I think so often as a people, no matter how much proof we provide, to say we are in this pain and pain is the information that is telling us that something is wrong. You know, we tend to be the only ones to witness, and so for me, Fist of Wind in the title piece, the titular piece, is really about resisting erasure of our experiences of pain and joy and healing. You know, that whole thing, like if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. They're gonna kill you anyway. So at the end of the day, I see this as an archive. I see this in conversation with other folks who are writing about particularly the reproductive system and reproductive justice as it pertains to Black people, because, you know, the way reproductive health is addressed or not addressed in our society, for all people in all walks of life, but especially for Black people, could tell us a lot about where we need to go and where we are now if we just listened.
Yes, I heard. We've got a question about structure in the Q&A box. How did you approach structure when writing this chapbook?
That is a good question. So I made Fist of Wind the title poem because one time I was in at a retreat at the watering hole and Terrence Hayes was there and he was just like, you should make, if you have a title poem, that should be the first poem that pops up when you are applying to things, and you want to announce yourself when you come in the room. And so I was just like, I'm announcing myself. I'm setting the tone for what is to come. And I felt like there was enough like magic. Ooh, it's loud. And there was enough magic and strength in that piece to like as an introduction to this world that I wanted to show folks. The rest with structure was really about, like, I didn't want the poems that were like more medical to like come back to back. And so I was trying to balance like narrative pieces with experiences that are like more universal. And then also taking the approach of like, you know, the personal can be universal. And so this chapbook has like many different ways. I definitely feel like it could end up being like a fuller length because I feel like this is a conversation that I never want to stop having. But yeah, like it was really about sitting with the piece and seeing what the narrative arc of this collection was going to be and where I wanted to land. Because I keep coming to pain is information, and you know, it tells you what it needs. And so sort of just like listening to that was really helpful for me.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It definitely, that piece definitely has threads that I found all throughout the collection. Another thread that I found throughout the collection is sort of the image of water. And so tell us about your connection to water and why you felt it was important to include these images as pillars in this collection.
So water is life. And I have both a great respect and fear of water as someone who cannot swim, as someone who comes from an ancestry where, you know, water has taken people along the transatlantic slave trade, you know, and brought them here or held them in the Atlantic. So for me, acknowledging water is about acknowledging life, its power to destroy, its power to give life, and its power to heal. I know for me, some of the most healing times that I've had is just being able to be near water or, you know, be in ritual around water when I feel like I have access to it, especially as I'm moving through my premenstrual experiences. And yeah, like, so I feel like it's never something when I'm writing that I'm thinking about consciously. It's sort of just like seeps in, drips in as it needs to, and I'm with it. And I'm a Scorpio, and so we are water signs.
For sure, that deep down, way down dark water, all the way down to where human beings can't reach water. So I hear you. I want to talk about ritual and process. The writer's process is always sacred, is always unique to the person who's creating. So what was your process or ritual in creating Fist of Wind?
So most of what I've written has been inspired by the time that I've either spent in solitude or more often than not writing in community. Arisa, Linda, KB, all are people from various parts of my community and my poetry community. And like, I feel like I've definitely like written several pieces, like being in community with these folks. And so for me, a lot of my most, I feel dynamic writing happens when I'm among other people. And it's because I really want, I'm just like, oh, like these are amazing people that are about to read my words. And so I can't fuck it up. But also, also like like the synergy is there, the muse or whatever is there. And so for me, my writing process is very like rooted in community and communities where I am celebrated, not tolerated. And in communities where I feel seen. So I'm super, super grateful to like have had those opportunities to like generate writing in community and, you know, edit in solitude.
Yeah, yay and amen to that. Community is such a huge part of writing and being a writer, even though it is a very solo act. Thank you so much, Nefertiti. I think that's all the questions we have. So I'm gonna pass it back to the Moed.
Yay, thank you.
Wow, I want to say thank you to all of you. This was an absolutely incredible event. I feel completely full of life and uplifted from all of your words and your poetry. So thank you again to you, Nefertiti, for sharing with us for your book. That's a huge deal. Congrats. Thank you, KB. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Arisa, for your poetry as well. Thank you, Imani, for this wonderful facilitation. I have so much gratitude to all of you for each and every one of you and your craft. Much appreciation to Foglifter Press as well for co-presenting this program. I want to thank Emily and Terry for providing ASL interpretation and live captioning as well. And lastly, I want to remind everyone that there are copies of Fist of Wind that are available at the Moed bookstore. So I encourage you to get yourself a copy and support and read this incredible book. I'm going to share in the chat. We do have a quick program survey, and we do appreciate everyone filling it out and letting us know how you enjoyed the program. It helps us know how to best serve our communities. And lastly, for those of you who are located in the Bay Area or maybe traveling to the Bay Area, I really encourage you to come visit the Museum of the African Diaspora in person. We just reopened to the public last month after 20 months. And so really encourage everyone to come see our new exhibitions on view and support us in any way that you may. We will be continuing on online programming as well. So there's ways to connect and engage across the distance. So with that, I want to thank everyone for being a part of today's event, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.